in 2016, President Obama changed the law to make it legal now for the CIA to propagandize.
Hey, what's up, you all? Welcome back. I'm Van, and we are all the LFR family. I really appreciate you guys for click and play. Hopefully you click that like button as well. And please make sure you go to LFRfamily.com and get some Bang Bang tea. 16, 19 packets of them. All right, so we about to go ahead and check out a video that was given to me by Forge the Deep. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on the live stream, fam. I appreciate that. And apparently this is RFK Jr. blows the lid off, Operation Mockingbird. Oh, this is Mark Dice. I like Mark Dice. This dude wild, man. He wild. He wild. I just hope, look, Mark, just do me one favor, bro. Just one favor. Please don't get me in trouble on this channel. Jokes. All right, let's go.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. just made another stunning revelation on a podcast. Well, I guess it's old news to us, but it'll be new news to Fox News viewers and anybody who watches the brand name Conservative Inc. supposed alternative media figures like Ben Shapiro and all the rest, because he sat down with Lex Friedman recently, just a few days ago, who was some computer nerd and artificial intelligence guru who will ultimately be a servant of Satan and wants people to plug into the matrix through a neural interface. But that's a whole other issue. But Robert F. Kennedy Jr. mentioned one of my favorite topics.
For most of its life, the CIA was banned from propagandizing Americans. But we learned that they were doing it anyway. So in 1973, during the Church Committee hearings, we learned that the CIA had a program called Operation Mockingbird.
What's going on with his voice box, guys? I'm not going to sit here and act as if this is not uncomfortable, because it sounds like it's painful for him. So is it painful for him? Also, I want to point out that this old dude is jacked. I seen a video of him, man. This dude was like on a bench doing push-ups, like, this dude is in great shape. So if y'all are out there acting as if you cannot get your ass out there and do something, be active so you can be in better shape, you're lying to yourself. You're just lazy, period. You're lazy, and your body will diminish faster by being lazy, all right? Get up on the good foot, and you'll be surprised that that physicality that you start to incorporate into your life a little bit more is going to start to help out every other part of you, the emotional part of you, the mental part of you, the spiritual part of you even. You're going to start to appreciate you more, and then you're going to love life more. So just want to put that out there. But his voice box, though, please let me know whatever y'all know about that.
Where they had at least 400 members, leading members of the United States Press Corps, the New York Times, the Washington Post, ABC, CBS, NBC, etc., who were secretly working for the agency and steering news coverage to support CIA priorities.
By the way, if you don't know, the reason his voice sounds shaky isn't that he's sick or an elderly man. He has some disease with his vocal cords that cause them to spasm every time that he speaks.
Mark Dice, you are the man. You see how things are. That's kismic right there. That's like I asked the question, and he said, well, Van, thanks for asking, brother. This is the reason. All right. Thank you, Mark Dice. I see now. I have an understanding. I appreciate it. See?
And they agreed at that time to disband Operation Mockingbird in 73. But there's indications they didn't do that. And the CIA today is the biggest funder of journalism around the world. The biggest funder is through USAID.
Now, he's being way overly diplomatic there, trying not to sound like a conspiracy theorist by saying there are indications that they didn't end it. Well, of course they didn't.
You say that continues today?
Well, I would think probably for a reporter it would continue today, but because of all of the revelations of the period of the 1970s, it seems to me that a reporter's got to be much more circumspect in doing it now, or he runs the risk of at least being looked at with considerable disfavor by the public. I think you've got to be much more careful about it.
And for 19 years now, since 2004, when I first learned about Operation Mockingbird, before YouTube, before Facebook, when I was an internet radio host on GCN, the Genesis Communications Network, the same network that I think still syndicates Alex Jones's show. Very few of my current subscribers know this because obviously it was a long time ago. My audience back then was very small. But you know that I've been shouting about Operation Mockingbird pretty much nonstop. And all you need to do, anybody needs to do, is look at the Church Committee report, which was published in 1976, where it says on page 455 that the CIA currently maintains a network of several hundred individuals around the world who provide intelligence for the CIA and at times attempt to influence opinion through the use of covert propaganda. These individuals provide the CIA with direct access to a large number of newspapers and periodicals, scores of press services and news agencies, radio and television stations, commercial book publishers, and other foreign media outlets.
That's why it's so difficult for me to trust anything. That's a lie. Because when my wife tell me to go get her something to eat, or the kids want something to eat, and we ain't cooked, I will hop in that car so daggone fast, get out there on the streets with all these people I don't trust, and go to some restaurant that I don't know, and I don't know it. I don't know these people from at all, bruh. From a cup of daggone tea. Wow, man, it feels, I can't even say I don't trust people anymore. God dang it, because clearly my action says otherwise.
The United States funds journalism in almost every country in the world. You know, it owns newspapers. It has journalists on it, thousands and thousands of journalists on its payroll. They're not supposed to be doing that in the United States, but, you know, in 2016, President Obama changed the law to make it legal now for the CIA to propagandize Americans. And I think, you know,
Yes, that was through the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act of 2012. Obama needed to modernize it so that it would be fully legal for the CIA to spread fake news in American media.
I mean, there's certain press organs that have been linked, you know, to the agency, that the people who run those organs, things like the Daily Beast, now Rolling Stone, you know, editor of Rolling Stone, Noah Schlackman, has deep relationships with the intelligence community, Salon, Daily Kos.
And again, of course, this is all old news to us, but it's great that he's bringing up these issues with a normie audience, as the kids say, and maybe this will make it safe for the brand name talk show hosts and pundits to finally talk about Operation Mockingbird, because they're almost as afraid to bring that up as they are to disagree with gay marriage. And
you know what's wild too? They put out so many lies that when they do put out the truth here and there, it could be scary as hell. It could be something that's right in your face. We don't believe it because we think that it's a lie. Or we think everything's the truth. The truth. So we're all confused as hell. That's why it's important that you have a relationship with God, because God ain't buying into that propaganda. God will give you that discernment. He would tell you directly, you got the main line. I'm on the main line to Jesus. Hallelujah. He telling me directly what I want to hear.
And then listen to the reaction from this nerd, Lex Friedman, who has had the biggest names in tech on his podcast. He just can't understand why the CIA would want to do that.
But I wonder why they would do it. So from my perspective, it just seems like the job of a journalist is to have an integrity where your opinion cannot be influenced or bought.
Imagine being that naive.
Yeah, because but he's only saying what he was taught. Like he believed based off of what he learned about being in mass communications out there as a reporter or someone that's out there talking about the news at all, or writing in papers and whatnot, that they have to uphold a certain bit of integrity. That's hogwash, but we repeat what we was taught. Same thing about depression. If I talk to somebody about depression, they're going to tell me what they were taught, and then what they bought into, and then what they now experience. Oh yeah, wow, I was sitting there and that happened to me, and now I'm depressed based off of the definition of depression. So he's just saying what he know about the integrity of a reporter.
Well, why would the journalists do that? I thought journalism was a respectable profession. I'm sorry, Lex, but not only is it blatantly obvious that virtually all mainstream journalists are corrupt to the core and make the same amount of money as professional athletes.
Yeah, when I heard that Rachel Maddow make $30 million for MSNBC, I'm like, what? The long neck? How is she making $30 million? What?
But it's old news. 45 years ago, in 1977, Rolling Stone magazine published an expose after the church hearing about Operation Mockingbird and named names and detailed how even the church hearing covered up the extent of the program. Sadly, Rolling Stone and Carl Bernstein, who wrote this article, couldn't beat them, and so they joined them.
I actually think that the entire field of journalism has really shamed itself in recent years because it's become, the principal newspapers in this country and the television station, the legacy media have abandoned their tradition of which was.
They have abandoned all sense of integrity and morality. And again, some of us have been trying to warn the American people about this for many years now. Here's me 13 years ago, back in 2010, on a little-known radio show, trying to tell people what's going on.
It's interesting. We kind of talk about Operation Mockingbird and things like that, and people are saying it's kind of well known that the government controls the media and this and that. But I mean, if anybody wants any real hardcore evidence of this, just look into the church hearings back in the late 1970s and look at the published report about Operation Mockingbird back in the 70s. I mean, it's just fully a congressional hearing investigating the CIA, and they uncovered and admitted that the CIA was paying at that time like $200 and some million a year. According to adjusted for today's inflation, it's $1 billion a year. They were paying off the reporters and the editors, really, to gatekeep, to kill stories, and to plant propaganda. So, I mean, there's your evidence right there.
Wow, Mark. Sheesh, Mark Dice is on point, bro. Ain't nobody tell me. So they paying people to gatekeep the information, to install whatever information they want to put in there, and to kill any information that got past the gate. Okay, and you all on the right, you only report this. You all on the left, you only report that. And make sure that we sign off on it, okay? Don't report nothing that's going to make us look bad. Or it's your job on the line, and maybe even your life. And I'm joking when I say and maybe even your life, but I'm certain that there were a lot of people who just went missing for reporting the wrong things. And that's unfortunate, man. I actually went to school for mass communications. I dropped out, because my pullout game wasn't what it was supposed to be. Having a baby at 18 years old, but
Yes, but sadly, literally the only time it's ever been mentioned on Fox News was 2 years ago on Tucker Carlson's show when Glenn Greenwald said this.
If you go and Google, and I hope your viewers do, Operation Mockingbird, what you will find is that during the Cold War, these agencies used to plot about how to clandestinely manipulate the news media to disseminate propaganda to the American population. They used to try and do it secretly. They don't even do it secretly anymore. They don't need Operation Mockingbird. They literally put John Brennan, who works for NBC, and James Clapper, who works for CNN, and tons of FBI agents right on the payroll of these news organizations. They now shape the news openly to manipulate and deceive the American population.
Yes, they do.
You can't say a damn thing about it. Not a damn thing about it. If they don't want a certain story of a certain president's son to a potential certain president's son then to be seen smoking, holding a gun, and doing nasty things to lot lizards on camera, they're going to dead that story, period. And anybody that bring it up, they are getting kicked off of the platforms.
They do, but sadly, the trusted brand name conservatives are still too afraid to tell their audiences about it. I'll leave a link in the description below to my previous in-depth report. It's rather lengthy about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. raising the alarm about atrazine, the herbicide that's found in drinking water across the country that has been found to convert testosterone into estrogen, which he and many others believe may be responsible for the gender dysphoria epidemic in society. And just as I predicted, once he mentioned that...
Yo, are you kidding me? Atrazine in the water supply is contributing to sexual dysphoria in kids? It's just an overload. And then when it becomes an overload, you start looking at an overload of information that's coming out. What people start doing is they will say That's a conspiracy. That's a conspiracy, and he crazy for even bringing it up.
On Jordan Peterson's podcast, then the all-knowing fact checkers claim, well, is atrazine in the water supply contributing to sexual dysphoria in kids? Well, they say, of course not. Yes, and I'm sure that BPA, bisphenol A, and phthalates, which are synthetic estrogens found in plastics, which are often used in food packaging and toys and even clothes, have nothing to do with it either, right? Oh, wait, what's this? It's a 2005 article from New Scientist magazine. Gender-bending chemicals found to feminize boys.
Yeah, I'm smiling because I like the way Mark Dice is doing the news, man. He is killing it. I like the way he's doing this, for real.
Gender-bending chemicals mimicking the female hormone estrogen can disrupt the development of baby boys, suggests the first evidence linking certain chemicals in everyday plastics to effects in humans. The chemicals implicated are phthalates, which make plastics more pliable in many cosmetics, toys, baby feeding bottles, and paints, and can leak into water and food. Then 3 years later, other studies confirm these same concerns. Chemicals commonly found in food wrapping, makeup, and baby powders are having a gender-bending effect, feminizing male populations of wildlife and humans. This from 2009.
Why would they have a master plan to make people gay? That's my question.
2-year-olds at risk from gender-bending chemicals. But you're not supposed to say that there's anything wrong with people who have gender dysphoria. It's an orientation. It's no different than someone being left-handed instead of right-handed. In fact, they're amazing. They're on the frontier of the next phase of evolution of humanity. I'll leave a link in the description below to RFK Jr.'s full interview with Lex Friedman. Leave a comment over there letting people know that I sent you and thumb up my comment. I haven't watched the whole interview, but he does bring up a couple other interesting points, including In-Q-Tel, which is the CIA's investment firm, basically, where they invest money into tech companies.
So that makes a whole lot of sense right there. Thank you, Mark Dice. I'm gonna leave the video link for this entire video that he's posting, and you will be able to see all the other links that he mentioned as well. It makes sense, I guess, if you're a feminizer man, and you say, why do you need to fight? We'll fight for you. And before, men say, no, I'm gonna fight for myself, and you're not taking my guns. But now, we don't need guns. They'll do it. I'm just going to go get my nails done and a facial and just trust that they got my back.